Pujya Swamiji, Nivedita Didi, Dr. Shashi Balaji, Dr. Joram Begiji, and brothers and sisters. Uh, in fact, in the interest of time, I'll keep it short and crisp. We are already nearing 6:30. So what I propose to do is to sort of take this discussion into two parts. One is the Indic perspective. How has the humanity come up to be so diverse? And what is the Indic view on this? What is the Indian Vedic view on this? And on the top of it, what is the world view on this unity, oneness, and diversity? The second piece, the next 5 minutes, I'll be spending on what are the key thoughts and takeaways in a modern connected world like this. Wish to spend a couple of minutes on this profound aphorism from Chandogya Upanishad, dates back early first millennium before Common Era. It's so profound that Swamiji, in his address in 1893, in the famous address, on the sidelines, which was happening, the Parliament of Religion was happening on the sidelines of Columbian Industrial Expo, 400 years of the American excellence in the science and technology. It was a side adjunct program. Swamiji met Nikola Tesla and he shared this profound aphorism from Chandogya Upanishad, Ekoham Bahusyam. And he goes on to explain, one has manifested into many. He further explains it by saying, one element has manifested into diverse elements in the universe. Further, he says that one energy has manifested into many energies that we experience today. He also tries to explain Nikola Tesla that विविधता में एकत्व है. सृष्टि में जो विविधता है उसके पीछे एकत्व का सिद्धांत है. एकत्व का दर्शन करना ही विज्ञान का अंतिम लक्ष्य है. He explains by saying there is unity in diversity by way of a profound shlok. He goes on to make a very important declaration, so to say, to the scientific world that the ultimate goal of science is nothing but finding of this unity. That is the goal of the science. And my dear friends, this was the watershed moment of Vedantic cosmology or Vedantic thoughts being propounded on unity, oneness, and diversity. And this is so relevant in this context. I'm so excited to share this, therefore. So when this thought was shared on the sidelines of this conference, Nikola Tesla, the super genius of the 19th century, immediately picked it up and started working on it. Swamiji said, can you express this in a 1-inch long mathematical formula defining energy and matter? Nikola Tesla could not do it in his lifetime. Albert Einstein, another super genius, took it from where Nikola Tesla left and started working on it. And he, as we all know, as the world knows, he came up with this, the grand unified theory in 1921. But it fails at two events, the Big Bang and the black hole, right? As we all know. Stephen Hawking, the British physicist, took it from where uh, Albert Einstein left, the unfinished agenda, as it was called, the unfinished manuscript. So he started working on it and he propounded the theory of everything, right? And he also sort of laid it out to the entire world. It still remains unfinished. Michio Kaku, the Japanese American physicist, theoretical physicist of the present times, comes up with a God equation in 2021 during the COVID times. All that I wish to say with all this is what started as a Vedic Indic thought few thousand years ago, what was uh, amplified by Swami Vivekananda in his paper on Hinduism, and the later conversation with Nikola Tesla, sort of became the bedrock for the scientific world to come and understand what is this oneness, what is this unity, what is this diversity, what is this singularity. And my dear friends, this is exactly what we are today standing and looking at. What is this oneness? What is this diversity? Carl Sagan, the iconic astronomer and planetary scientist, says that about 10 million years ago, we were apes. 100 million years ago, our ancestors were rat and mouse. 500 million years ago, we were fish, ancestors were fish. About couple of billion years ago, they were microbes. So, what does it go on to say? It goes on to say that there is a unity in diversity. There is oneness. The other side of the coin is diversity. So, they are pretty much the same. Bharat Varsh, our own Bharat, has embraced this diversity, inclusion, and mutual respect and oneness for a long time, thousands of years, the oldest ever civilization to do it. Today we have 80 plus faiths and religion who are finding home in India, in Bharat. We have 121 spoken languages which are respected here. And therefore, it makes huge sense for us to lead the world, to be a president, to do the presidential work for the world. Annie Besant famously said that India is a country in which every great religion finds a home. It finds a home means the religion is comfortable in a home. So, what are the lessons, therefore, brothers and sisters, that we should or we are qualified to tell to the whole world? I'll try to encapsulate that in a small 2-3 slides. Something interesting happened in the last few United Nations meetups in Rio de Janeiro and in China and other UN declarations. The thought process that clearly resonated in these United Nations meetings and the World Bank meetings, and they've started recognizing this very equivocally, is to place culture at the heart of sustainable development. They said social development, economic development has to be an integral part or integral fabric of the native culture and the native tradition. If these are not integrated, rapid success or inclusive success won't be possible. One size fits all, Didi has rightly pointed out, one size fits all model has miserably failed, and therefore the sustainable development model or the economic development model or the women rights have not been well captured in the one size fits all. It has to be integrated and also interpreted. We have to interpret these constructs in the context of the local culture and the local tradition, because they form the basic fabric for thousands of years. The other point that I want to drive home is we are today in a completely flat world. Thomas Friedman has rightly written a book, a beautiful book. The world is flat, and it's been a while now. It's been almost a decade, little less than a decade, that this book became a world bestseller. The world is flat. But today, when we look back, the world is so flat. The world is so connected. Let's take two recent examples as a case study. When there was someone sneezed, किसी ने छींका Wuhan, China में, the whole world caught cold, right? And we are still facing the cold, the sneeze of that one Wuhan virus or the one Wuhan sneeze that we had. And it quickly spread all around the world on the biological side. Now let's come on the technological side. Very recent example. Many of us would have fiddled with the technology. Many of us Google, when we want to get some answer, we Google and ask Google what the answer is. Today's generation open up Chat GPT. It's an open AI artificial intelligence platform, and they type for an answer, and the artificial intelligence gives a human-like response with emotions embedded. Now, what that has to do with a connected world? First time in the history of any product or in the history of any company, on planet Earth, this product called Chat GPT, open artificial intelligence product, reaches to 5 million users from Silicon Valley to Shillong. In just 5 days, millions of users are connected or are using ChatGPT. So there has been never a more connected world than this. If that is the kind of speed at which we are all connected, millions and billions of people, by just one message, by just one email, by just one technological intervention. So should the definitions of concepts, very profound concepts like minority, which has a daily bearing on us, should these definitions be not looked from a global construct, right? This is the time we looked at things from a global construct. Today you build products for the world. Today you build solutions for the world. So this concept of minority has to be a global construct. It cannot be a national construct. Coming to very important points, and this discussion keeps happening on the human rights protection model, right? Every time we hear about the human rights protection, should we not look at human rights from a perspective of being sensitive towards whether it's a human rights violation or it's not a human rights violation from the native tradition and culture's perspective? It's high time we did that. Human rights is looked at from a point of view of what the native community out there thinks about it. Is there a violation? Is it right or wrong? Right? As opposed to one straight definition which comes from a textbook, right? One standard definition. One there cannot be a straight fit. Didi has rightly pointed this out, and I would also like to echo it very strongly, very equivocally. The other thing about human rights is today human rights often is ascribed from an individualistic perspective, right? But we don't live in a contractual society. We live in a relation based society. It has to be necessarily looked from a point of view of a broader context of family, broader context of a society, broader context of a nation at large. And how does that impact at these levels and not just at the level of an individual? It has to be family, society, and the nation. And yes, respecting native tradition for all the above said reasons becomes so very important to preserve diversity, equity, inclusion, and mutual respect. My dear friends, India has shown the light to the world, and definitely you are the light, we are the light. Thank you so very much. Namaskar.